Welcome back to Xenonauts Abridged, Part 12. Last time we just did a load of regular missions, and due to weird scheduling, I'm making this before I finished making that part, so I don't have the footage. Anyway, so after all of those regular missions were over, we went right on into a new mission, a very special one. We discovered another alien base, so even though Charlie 1 has just got done with a mission, I'm going to send them out right away to have our best team looking into this important issue. There was only one way out of our deployment room, and we moved out of it into a bigger room, and then discovered the first hostile. An Andron walks in. So it's quite close to us, but there's so much stuff in the way that we can't really see it or attack it properly. I ended up in this case just sitting around to see if it would come closer. And indeed at the end of our turn it does wander over a little bit. We get some reaction fire, but it doesn't achieve all that much. Now it ends up standing right in front of us, just what I was hoping for, so pretty much anyone can shoot at it from this scenario. I decided to use one of my laser weapons because it's more effective against Androns, and even though I'd probably be fine to just fire at it with a machine gunner, I want to save ammo with the machine guns because they can plausibly run out of ammo, whereas all the other regular weapons have never even come close. So we got Betty Buckshot to take it down even without bothering to move up close like we usually do in that case. Now more aliens appear. There's a drone in the room to our up and right. Two more Androns come into the room from the south, and there was also, if you're looking very carefully, another Andron in that room to the up and right as well. It just didn't do very much. I just smoked our position and decided to wait because again we don't really have good shots on anything. We're unlikely to do any damage. We'll try and let the enemy come to a position where they'll get themselves killed. Unfortunately, unlike the last Andron, they weren't so enthusiastic about walking right up to us. We end up having a bit of a ranged battle that doesn't really achieve anything for either side. We're being shot from all over the place. Big Iron gets suppressed, but that's the only thing that comes of it. I hope there that having the smoke actually provided him with protection, because he did get shot at a lot of times and managed to avoid being hit. Maybe because of the smoke, it's actually hard to tell. Anyway, later on, I destroyed a chair that was blocking my line of sight to one of the Androns using a machine gun. That allowed Boom Headshot to simply snipe down the Andron with a clear shot, so that was good stuff. There's still one more Andron in the corner and two enemies in the next room over to worry about. I get shot from somewhere there's an enemy that I can't see, and the other Andron down to the south starts walking closer. That's what we want. And the drone is also sort of out of our line of sight and firing, but we see it there as it moves around. We just about have a shot on it at a certain angle, so we'll see if we can do anything with that. But I was more concerned with the Andron that's walking towards us. Luckily we've got Betty Buckshot sitting behind this bed thing. She can easily just walk out and get a nice point-blank range shot, and continue to carry the entire squad, as she usually does. So there we go, we get a one-hit kill at close range. That's the threats from the south dealt with. Now we can focus on the north. Verfinau just about gets line of sight onto the drone, gets a sneaky shot around an obstacle and takes it out. Very good work from him. That left just one other Andron who we can't see right now, but I knew he was in the room since it was moving around and opening doors previously. We get shot again from someplace we can't see. Not sure how this is happening, but the enemy is right there on the corner of the door. We just can't see it and it can see us. I was going to move up Fragfist, our shield bearer, to try and find it, but he's got low time units due to suppression. I didn't want to risk it, so I'm going to just put him into cover. And I just waited for this turn. I smoked the area up so I was unlikely to get shot. There's the Andron. It actually moved across the door at some point and then came from the other direction. It tried to go over to the other corridor, but I had guys watching it. They started firing. The Andron didn't really take any damage, but now it's stuck standing there, nice and easy to attack. I considered for a second letting someone that wasn't Betty Buckshot actually do something. The problem is the next best person to use would be useless, and that would literally do nothing, so I thought, well, it's up to Betty again, we'll just keep attacking with her. And there we go, the Andron goes right down. We've captured this first room and this second room as it happens. The core room is just to our north and there was nothing defending it, so I captured that after this, but there were no enemies. That means I could have ended the mission just after that by blowing up the core, but I didn't want to do that. I thought we're fine to go on and try and get a capture. Moved on for a while, ended up somewhere off to our right in this corridor where we finally encountered another enemy. There's an Andron at the end of the corridor. The problem is the best cover to use for advancing upon him is outflanked by another Andron in the corridor adjoining that one. So it's a difficult situation. I spent quite a long time trying to work out how I should advance through this corridor, and even tried doing some smoke stuff. You can see the residue of it there. But things worked out in the end, because the Andron at the end of the corridor walked off somewhere, so that meant it was sort of safe to just run down the corridor and then go down the adjoining one to take out the other Andron. And of course I'm using Betty Buckshot because she has enough time units to make these long runs and several attacks in the same turn. So it's a bit bad since no one else is training their stats or training their accuracy by firing on enemies during the mission, but maybe we don't even need the rest of the party. Only like 2 or 3 people have done anything in this mission so far, so everyone else is just along for the ride. Now, in the next turn, I gradually moved down the corridor and discovered a red Andron is around the corner. That's not the one we saw earlier, so it seems like there are probably 2 Androns just around this bend. I'm going to set up and prepare to attack safely, because we don't want to just rush in if there are 2 enemies right there. The red Andron comes over and shoots with no animation apparently, hitting trigger down right there. Then we get an annoying event. Useless shoots Fragthis in the back in an attempt to shoot the Andron, and Fragthis nearly dies. Then the green Andron reappears and goes and stands in a nice easy to shoot position. That's nice of him. But the damage done to Trigger Down and Fragthis has left both of them bleeding, so they need to be healed as soon as possible, especially Fragthis, because he may actually die from bleeding out since his health is so low. First, we need to deal with the hostiles, so it's safe to sit around using med packs. Verfinal gets a load of shots onto the red Andron, not quite enough to kill, but I did have just enough points to shoot again if I didn't really aim. We got the shot, got a tiny bit of damage, and it was just enough apparently to bring the enemy down, so that went well. As for the green Andron, I'm going to move people out of the way so that Boehm Headshot, who's sitting in the corner looking at the wall at the back there, can take a shot. I had him facing the wrong way deliberately so that he wouldn't take reaction fire if an enemy walked in front of us. Should have done the same thing with Useless apparently. I'm going to use that tactic more and more as we go on, because reaction fire is definitely more trouble than it's worth. At the end of the corridor was the command center, so that's a good find. Capturing this will reveal the rest of the map. I was pretty sure there was at least 1 enemy in there because I'd seen something earlier on, and indeed there's some guy hiding in the corner after a lot of searching around. So now that we know he's there, we can just run in and take him out. You can see here I hesitate for a second to give Betty the order, thinking should someone else do it? And I think no, Betty can just do everything for the rest of the game. So we've captured this command center. This shows us lots of empty rooms, including some interesting red ones. And on the right side of the screen tells us there are 4 aliens left. Their location was a bit puzzling. They're right next to where we started. I thought that door in the starting room couldn't be opened, but actually there's a load of guys just on the other side of it. There's 3 Androns and a drone. So now we face the annoying prospect of walking back to the door. That took over 5 minutes. Then this happened. You can't open the door as I thought. However, you can path through it, and the path takes us to these blue things. I realised they must be teleporters of some kind. You can teleport to this locked off area of the base in order to engage the last few enemies. The problem with that is I'd have to actually go over there and spend another 5 minutes walking that way. It takes so long because the aliens in their turn are just patrolling around, and it's showing you all of their movements because we've got all of the line of sight revealed. Anyway, I realised there's probably another way to get through this. Big Iron happens to have been carrying a rocket launcher. Actually, for the whole game, I've just never used it. And now I thought it's the perfect chance to open the door manually. I can fire the rocket launcher out the wall. It has a really small area of effect for a rocket, so we can actually do that even though we're sitting right next to it. And indeed, the door is destroyed, and we also get a bit of damage onto the Andron on the other side as a bonus. Now we'll just attack through this door without bothering with the teleports. We can take out the Andron standing in the corridor with Verfinal. Now just 2 more Androns and a drone. I couldn't advance because there was fire in front of me, so I just sat around. I threw smoke out for safety, and I thought maybe the smoke would put the fire out, like in Counter-Strike. Is it Counter-Strike where it does that? But no. Anyway, as it turns out, the aliens aren't aggroed onto us, I guess because we haven't gone into this separate locked off area of the base. They're just continuing their patrol patterns from before, so I needed to try and get their attention. I found I could get partial line of sight sometimes at certain points in the enemy's patrol path and sneak shots around the corner of that corridor, but obviously that's not going to get us very far. to speed things up, we need to attack this room, and that means we need to send in Betty Buckshot, being suited to doing just about everything. There's an Andron currently on the left side of the corridor, so we'll get her to move up and take it out. The drone is in the corner on the right. Probably could also take it out this turn with Betty, but just to be nice, let's let someone else do something. Verfenau with our other laser weapon can come in and get a nice point-blank range shot to take it out, leaving just the one Andron who's currently hiding in the corridor that comes off from this room. I set up the squad in the room, ready to await the arrival of the Andron, hoping it would come in. Indeed it did. It walked over and shot at Verfenau, luckily a miss. Betty gets some reaction fire, doing good damage. Then there is a nice audio glitch and this clicking, stamping sound just starts playing. Luckily we're at the end of the mission, so we don't have to put up with that for too long, or I don't anyway. I was thinking, let's get someone else to kill this last Andron since Betty's done just about everything. And finally here's a chance for Big Iron to do something. He can just walk up behind the Andron and shoot it at point blank range, where his shotgun will do decent damage. There we have it, mission successful. It all went quite smoothly, and like in many of our missions, a lot of the problems came from friendly fire. No particular reward for doing it as before as well. We've captured 2 alien bases, but nothing appears to have happened as a result, so there you have it. I went to check on the engineering departments after this mission and found that half of my staff again weren't doing anything, and I just didn't realise. Don't know how long that's been the case for. And now, just before Charlie 1 gets back, we finish interrogating an alien officer. All this tells us is that the aliens don't plan on destroying Earth, and note that this is also self-evident because they would have done it by now if they really wanted to destroy it. They don't necessarily want to kill humans, they do it incidentally for their own reasons, but they're probably actually trying to do something else, but we still don't really know what that is. We have to capture an alien leader to find out, which I guess is a new type of alien we haven't seen yet. Now like 5 or 6 UFOs all spawned at the same time all over the world, and here was the first one that I intercepted, a new type of craft, the landing ship. I thought, well, let's just see if the Foxtrots can take it down. We had good auto-resolve %. And really this landing ship seems to be the same kind of deal as the Corvette. It's slow and doesn't have the range to match our Foxtrots, so we just hit it with the torpedoes, and luckily enough 4 torpedoes is enough to bring it down instantly, so no chance of being shot at. The Foxtrots will return home, and I'll go and investigate the landing ship with Charlie 3. Since it's a new type of thing, it might be slightly more interesting than attacking a Corvette, which I presume most of these other contacts are going to be. Now over to the east, I had this little annoying setup where I was pursuing something and it landed just before I caught up, so I had to send my Foxtrots home. And this is a problem because the Foxtrots, having wasted that time on the mission, didn't have the fuel to intercept this new wing of craft that was coming for Hammersickle, and as it turns out, is coming to attack Hammersickle. It's not just flying nearby. I should have launched the planes even with low fuel just to fight them off. So now we suddenly have to face a mission inside our own base. This is an exciting twist. It explains here that our objective is to kill all the aliens. The aliens need to either kill all of us or capture the central room, so we need to try and remain near the center to avoid losing by default. And the aliens can also destroy the various rooms as they move through the base, so ideally we'll want to get this done quickly to avoid everything getting wrecked. Looking around reveals 2 doors that look like they lead out of the base, so I presumed that's where the aliens were going to come from, and indeed that is the case. It also mentioned something about having the fog of war revealed in the tutorial message, but it's only talking about being able to see the map. There's still actual fog of war. We don't have any security cameras or anything, which is annoying. So when I open this door next to where I deployed, there's a whole load of aliens just right there. It's going to be a close quarters battle from the start. Deadman Walken has this Reaper under control because we're close enough to just take it out. Had considered throwing a grenade, but Reaper is a high priority target. With so many enemies standing right there, I thought the best thing to do is start whipping out the stun gas, because we can start covering areas of the room in the gas, and the enemy will now take stun damage as they walk through it. So 1 grenade goes out successfully, this second grenade less successful. Mute Shield manages to throw the grenade at the wall that she's standing next to. It goes off at her feet, but somehow she and everyone else caught in the cloud just resist the gas. I'm not sure how you can resist stun gas. I guess it's not that good, as it turns out. If you choose not to be stunned, then fine. So maybe these guys are hanging on to consciousness, but we can still use them just fine, and we've avoided a major disaster by the looks of things. Now what I'm trying to do right there is get Snail Racer to close the door, but as it turns out, the doors in our base can be opened, but never closed. So that's a problem. I guess we've never opened them before now. That means the aliens are free to just run in and blast us in their turn, so this is dangerous. Speaking of dangerous, I get this guy, Giga a terrible gunner, to fire through the door, actually hitting me at shield, but the shield deflects the damage, and luckily suppressing 2 of the aliens, so that reduces the alien potential for charging through the door and just owning me up, which is what I was really paranoid about at this stage. Everyone else just needs to sit around and look at the door in case they can provide some service. One alien gets stunned, an alien throws a grenade forwards, it blows up, killing same boots as last guy and me at shield instantly. Not good. Then we see more alien movement. They seem to be trying to stay out of the gas, which at least means they're not charging at us right now. They tried another grenade, but they hit a box or something, and it didn't make it to us. Then the stun gas finally does take effect on Mr. Get, and he falls unconscious. So now we're down 3 party members. We started with 10, by the way, rather than the usual 8, because our reserves take part in the fight. Deadman Welkin expands our gas wall, so we've got pretty substantial protection right there. I needed to use some of my team elsewhere on the map. I needed to watch out for aliens coming from the north entrance to the base who could outflank us. That's where Miet's shield was going before. As we saw there, she was killed by a long-range shot. 2 of them, in fact. Not good at all. So now we're down 4 out of 10. Starting to look a bit weak, and we only have protection against attacks coming through 1 door into this central area, and there are plenty more doors the aliens could use to outflank us at any time. A terrible attack from G-Mobile does no damage to the enemy. That really sucked, especially at this difficult point. I had to send a few guys away to watch other doors, otherwise we'd be in big trouble, and in that very turn, a Reaper burst through the door to our left. Luckily it can't attack this turn. There's also some exchange of fire into this original room. One of the aliens starts running forwards. It does go through the stun gas and makes the noise as if it was damaged, but it wasn't enough of a stun to bring it down, so it ends up standing in front of us. The Reaper can be dealt with easily because it's standing right next to Deadman Welkin, picking up his 2nd Reaper kill of the mission. As for the alien that's run right in front of us, we just need to shoot it. I was going to shoot it with some of these guys over to the left, but the parts of the sandbags that they're not right next to block their line of sight in a slightly weird looking way. They should be standing over it and not have to shoot at them, but, well, I don't know. Line of sight's messed up in this game, as we know. A volley from G-Mobile suppresses the alien in front of us and an alien in the distance who I was actually firing at. Another volley from Friendfire takes out the closer alien. Now I was worried that aliens were going to run through on the tail of that Reaper we just killed, but nothing appeared, and in the next turn we were able to fire at the alien in this workshop and hit something that exploded, thus killing it. At this point, I think there's only 1 alien left in the workshop, so we've almost dealt with this first wave, but the other wave is nowhere to be seen, which is highly suspicious. I realised that it could just be like right here, off to our right, or our left, sorry, because we can't see the corridor. We don't have line of sight of the area around us and all the other doors, so it could just be anywhere, and I need to keep everyone facing different directions in order to detect potential attacks. I started opening all the doors around the command center so that the aliens couldn't surprise us, and the first door I opened actually revealed some aliens. There's one in the lab on the other side of the living quarters, so I thought we're probably going to take an attack from that direction and started moving the squad to all face that way. Another guy appears already inside the living quarters. He runs away after taking a bit of damage. There's another guy in the workshop who gets cut down by G-Mobile, good work, and we see someone run into the showers, so looks like an attack from that direction is on the cards. I'm going to start redirecting my team to watch the 2 doors that go into the living quarters. But as it happened, nothing actually came from this direction. I started gassing the room, trying to bait the enemy into stunning themselves, but I think all this actually did was make them not come through these doors, which I guess makes sense as well. The aliens sometimes consider gas to be impassable and won't walk through it, but sometimes they do try and walk through it, not quite sure what the priority is. Anyway, so I go back to opening more doors in the search for more aliens, because I was sure that it's more than just those two. I eventually spot someone over here on the far left of the map, so looks like we're going to have to start twisting our squad around to face that direction at least a bit. I'm being really dangerous right now, you might note, because I don't have anyone guarding the command room. An alien could just run up and open that door and end the mission. Luckily, it's not happening, as you can see, and this alien ends up standing in front of Snail Racer, who's able to bring it down with a quick burst. After that, like 10 turns pass with nothing happening. I thought more aliens would be coming on the attack, but apparently not. I think I might have accidentally stunned some aliens using the stun gas, and there we finally discovered someone in this hangar after I started sending people out to go and actually search the rooms for these aliens, and that surprisingly brought the mission to an end, so I must have stunned a couple of aliens without realizing it. We lost 2 squad members in the end, Miet Shield and Gigaja Mobile. Gigaja Mobile doesn't matter because he absolutely sucked. Miet Shield is a shame. Same boots as last guy was revived, and Mr. Get was only stunned, so he comes back with full health after the mission. So not much of a reward for doing that, but I think the reward is you don't lose your millions of dollars of investment in a base. You can also see I'm 2 days away from actually building a missile battery here. The missile batteries, I believe, automatically shoot at UFOs passing near the base, which would have made this situation much more avoidable. Anyway, after that, Charlie 3 hit that mission with the landing craft, and that turned out to be quite an interesting one indeed, so I hope you'll join me for that in the next part.